Welcome back to Faith Talks. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sarah. Today's episode is one we've been really looking forward to because it speaks to something so many of us wrestle with: what God's heart is really like.
This conversation is inspired by a powerful message from Pastor Kyewoon Choi, and we're grateful for his teaching as we walk through it together.
Let me ask you a question. When you mess up, when you fail, when you fall short, what do you imagine God's face looks like?
For many of us, our default image of God is disappointment. We imagine him turning away, arms crossed, waiting for us to fix ourselves before we come back.
And that's exactly where today's message challenges us. Scripture tells us that if we want to know what God's heart is like, we don't look at our feelings. We listen to God's own self-introduction.
One of the most surprising things in the Bible is when God chooses to reveal his heart.
Right. During Israel's worst failure. While Moses is on the mountain receiving the law, the people are already breaking it, worshiping a golden calf.
Common sense says this should be the end of the story.
But instead of walking away, God invites Moses back up the mountain and reveals his heart in Exodus 34:6-7.
And here's the key. This isn't Moses describing God. This is God describing himself.
God doesn't begin by saying, "I am almighty," or "I am easily offended."
He begins with mercy, compassionate, gracious, slow to anger, abounding in loving kindness and truth.
Think about introductions. The first thing you say tells people who you really are. God introduces himself by revealing his mercy.
That means God doesn't want to be misunderstood. He wants us to know his heart as it truly is.
Psalm 103 says God has compassion on us, like a father has compassion on his children.
And compassion isn't passive sympathy. It's active concern.
Here's an image from the sermon that really stuck with me. Imagine someone slipping into a muddy puddle on the street.
Sympathy stands on the sidewalk and says, "That's terrible."
But compassion steps into the puddle, gets muddy, and helps the person up.
That's what God does. In Jesus, God stepped into our mess. Christmas itself is proof. God didn't wait for us to clean up. He came first.
Genesis tells us that God was grieved in his heart over human sin. That surprises people.
Because it tells us God isn't emotionally distant. Sin genuinely hurts his heart.
But here's the distinction Pastor Choi made that's so important. Grief is not the same as repulsion.
Think of a doctor treating cancer. The doctor hates the disease, but loves the patient.
In the same way, God's grief over sin flows from his love for people. Sin doesn't make God want to leave the room. It makes him want to intervene.
If you've been hiding from God because of shame, hear this. God isn't repulsed by you. He's grieved by what's hurting you.
That brings us to one of the most beautiful pictures of God's heart. The parable of the prodigal son.
While the son is still far off, the father sees him, feels compassion, and runs.
That's radical. In that culture, dignified fathers didn't run. It was humiliating.
But love outruns dignity. God is willing to look undignified to restore his children.
That means God's mercy moves faster than our shame.
So what does this mean for us today?
It means God's heart is open when we expect it to be closed.
It means he runs when we expect judgment.
And it means shame is not a barrier. It's the very place where mercy meets us.
Here's a simple practice inspired by Pastor Choi's message. This week, when you pray, don't start with your to-do list.
Start with this sentence. Father, I believe your heart is moving toward me right now.
Don't wait until you feel clean enough to come home.
He's already running down the road to meet you.
Our thanks again to Pastor Kyewoon Choi for the message that shaped today's conversation.
We hope this episode reshapes the way you see God, not as distant or disappointed, but as a father whose heart runs toward you.
Thanks for listening to Faith Talks. We'll see you next time.